Now let us see Newland's laws of octaves. In 1866, John Newland, an English scientist, arranged the known elements in the order of increasing atomic masses. Newland started with the element having the lowest atomic mass, hydrogen, and ended at thorium, which was the 56th element. Let's study about Newland's law of octaves. Newland found that every eighth element had properties similar to that of the first. He compared this to the octaves found in music. Therefore, he called it as the law of octaves. It is also known as Newland's law of octaves. The images represent musical notes consisting of elements. He compared with musical notes because, in the musical instrument Casio, we can see the various keys on the keyboard, which produces musical notes called octaves. Let us discuss with an example in detail, that every eighth element had properties similar to that of the first element. Example for Newland's law of octaves. Here the properties of lithium and sodium were found to be the same. Sodium is the eighth element after lithium. Similarly, beryllium and magnesium resemble each other. Here note that, it was found, that the law of octaves was applicable only up to calcium, as after calcium, every eighth element did not possess properties similar to that of the first. In the Indian system of music, there are 7 musical notes in a scale: sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni. In the West, these notations are denoted as do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti. These notes are used for composing the music of a song. Naturally, there must be some repetition of notes. Every eighth note is similar to the first one, and it is the first note for the next scale. Newland assumed that only 56 elements existed in the nature, and no more elements would be discovered in the future. But later on several elements were discovered. These newly discovered elements' properties did not fit into the law of octaves, that is, Newland's periodic table. In order to fit these elements into his table, Newland adjusted 2 elements into the same slot, but also kept some unlike elements under the same note. Examples for the elements which are adjusted into same slot are, cobalt and nickel are in the same slot, and these are placed in the same column as fluorine, chlorine and bromine, which have very different properties than these elements. Iron, which resembles cobalt and nickel in properties, has been placed far away from these elements. Thus, Newland's law of octaves worked well with lighter elements only. Achievements of Newland's law of octaves are: the law of octaves was the first logical attempt to classify elements on the basis of atomic weights. Periodicity of elements was recognized for the first time. Drawbacks of Newland's law of octaves. Newland's law could be best applied only up to the element calcium. Newly discovered elements could not fit into the octave structure. It also failed to exhibit atomic weight feature for heavier elements.